over the weekend, the acting commissioner of the Social Security Administration left her position after Elon Musk and the Doge Groyper Twinks posters demanded access to the sensitive data at the administration, which is a theme across this less than, full month of Trump being in office, which is Elon Musk, who is trying to set up a banking service via X, formerly Twitter, has been combing around in the financial records of every American individual, nonprofit, and business, and seemingly feeding it into his AI or his algorithm. We still don't necessarily know what exactly he's doing with this information. Not that it matters, because it's a massive agreed upon security and privacy breach, funneling our most sensitive information to the world's richest man, who is also a complete lunatic that believes we're going to be able to colonize Mars or whatever. And
Political still calling it an efficiency and government regulation trimming operation too, which is really stupid for
real lie.
News
Yeah,
organization to say.
Yeah, news organizations need to be more explicit about it. I mean, even their fear about calling his Nazi salute what it was. It was proven correct in the same week when he went to meet or went to speak at the AfD far-right rally in Germany about forgetting their past, and previously having endorsed anti-Semitic conspiracy theories on that platform. Like, he has, with his massive amounts of wealth, intimidated vast swaths of the press, and has been going after this federal workforce for weeks at this point. So the Social Security Administration acting commissioner left her position. Her name was Michelle King. She had spent several decades working on behalf of Social Security so that our seniors nearly can get their payments. Nearly 2/3 of seniors kept out of poverty due to Social Security. It's one of our most important government functions, if not the most important government function, that or Medicare. It's hard to say. But last week, like we saw at the DOJ, Trump had to basically bypass a bunch of senior executives at the Social Security Administration to get his Bork, somebody who would sign off on giving Elon Musk access to the Social Security data. And here he is last week at the Oval Office in this weird press conference where he used his son as a human shield, spreading the conspiracy theory that has the false claim, the lie that has continued into this week about Social Security. This is how it originated, or at the very least, how he introduced this to the public.
Your tax dollars need to be spent wisely on things that matter to the people.
Like AI.
I mean, these things, it's just common sense. It's not draconian or radical. I think it's really just saying, let's look at each of these expenditures and say, is this actually in the best interest of the people? And if it is, it's approved. If it's not, we should think about it. So, there's crazy things like
Pause real quick.
Grocery.
That's what Congress does when they pass those bills.
Yep, they go. Also, Social Security is self-funding. People pay into it their entire lives, and you don't need to find the fraud that he's describing. We'll debunk it in a second, but 69 million Americans rely on Social Security.
Yeah, but let's spend billions of dollars to give this guy to make spy satellites.
It's essentially a pension fund for retirees that we've made into a federal government program. So this is not the place to look for waste, fraud, and abuse, but that's not what he's looking for. He's trying to steal our data so he can make more money with his banking service.
So, there's crazy things like just cursory examination of Social Security, and we've got people in there that are 150 years old. Now, do you know anyone who's 150? I don't know. Okay. They should be on the Guinness Book of World Records. They're missing out. So, that's a case where, I think they're probably dead. It's my guess. Or they should be very famous, one of the two. And then there's a whole bunch of Social Security payments where there's no identifying information. Well, why is there no identifying information? Obviously, we want to make sure that people who deserve to receive Social Security do receive it, and that they receive it quickly and accurately.
Accurately received.
Also, another crazy thing. So, one of the things is we're. All
right, he goes off on another tangent. People who deserve it receive it. Every American that has worked is paying into Social Security. This is how it gets funded. When you pay your taxes, you're paying into Social Security. There's nobody who's undeserving of Social Security who is paying into Social Security. Broadly.
That benefit fraud thing, there was something in Japan, I believe it was, where it was literally moving their age expectations up because there are so many people actually doing this. But even in that scenario, this is a fraction of what the government actually pays. And the idea that we're looking at this sort of thing, this low-level petty benefit fraud, which happens but at a minuscule level instead of the amount we're giving to the Pentagon to lose in foreign wars and stuff like that, it's a big con.
It is, and he's also so dumb that he's misreading the data that he's describing here, as are his little minions. But here's Caroline Leavitt last night on Sean Hannity's show responding to the freak out about this, rightly that people are like, oh my gosh, Social Security, this is one of the most popular programs in the country. And Musk's lie about the 150-year-old plus people is repeated here by the White House spokesperson.
Yeah, there's no evidence about that.
This is a promise President Trump campaigned on. He is now delivering on it. And I've been fighting fake news reporters all day long here in the Washington, D.C. swamp who are trying to fearmonger the American people into believing that this administration is going after their hard-earned tax dollars and their hard-earned Social Security checks. So I want to set the record straight on your show tonight, Sean, and I'm very grateful for the opportunity to do so. President Trump has directed Elon Musk and the Doge team to identify fraud at the Social Security Administration. They haven't dug into the books yet, but they suspect that there are tens of millions of deceased people who are receiving fraudulent Social Security payments. And so their goal in going into the Social Security Administration is to identify three things. Number one, to identify duplicate payments and to end them. Number two, to identify payments that are going to deceased people who are no longer living and should no longer be receiving that money. And number three, to protect the integrity of this system for hardworking Americans who have been paying into it their entire lives. So rest assured to all of the people watching your show tonight, if you paid into the system, honestly, you will continue to receive your Social Security checks. Do not buy into the lies from the legacy fake news media who are trying to fear you and scare you into believing otherwise. This is what we've seen them do about President Trump for years with every promise that he has made, and he's going in there to protect your hard-earned money. That is the ultimate goal.
That is not the ultimate goal. They have to reassure the gerontocratic audience of Fox News that their Social Security payments, which many of them rely on, are not going to be touched. But here's the reality. Wired, which has been doing incredible reporting really since Trump got inaugurated, covering Musk in particular and his efforts, have debunked this. And listen to how silly this is. Scroll down to the part that starts with computer programmers. Computer programmers quickly claims that the 150 figure was not evidence of fraud, but rather the result of a weird quirk of the Social Security Administration's benefit system, which was largely written in COBOL, C-O-B-O-L, a 60-year-old programming language that undergirds SSA's databases as well as systems from many other U.S. government agencies. COBOL, C-O-B-O-L, is rarely used today, and as such, Musk's cadre of young engineers may well be unfamiliar with it, because COBOL does not have a date type. Some implementations rely on a system where all dates are coded to a reference point. The most commonly used is May 20th, 1875, as this was the date of an international standard-setting conference held in Paris known as the Convention du Mètre. These systems default to the reference point when a birth date is missing or incomplete, meaning all of those entries in 2025 would show an age of 150. That's just one possible explanation for what Doge allegedly found. Musk could also have simply looked up the Social Security Administration's own website, which explains that since September 2015, the agency has automatically stopped benefit payments, which when anyone reaches the age of 115. 115! So they've automatically done that. Are there going to be a few cases that slip through the cracks? Potentially. But it's on its own website, debunking the premise of his entire claim. However, on Monday morning, Musk doubled down, posting a screenshot of what he claims were figures from the Social Security database to X, writing that the numbers of people in each age bucket with the death field set to false. The figure suggests that over 10 million people aged over 120 were collecting benefits. Maybe Twilight is real and there are a lot of vampires collecting Social Security. Oh, a Twilight reference! How topical! Musk wrote.
What a science genius.
The database Musk took the screenshot from listed almost 400 million people, which is more than 5 times the number of people receiving benefits in 2024, according to the Social Security Administration's own website. It's also significantly more than the entire United States population. So the genius coder, who's not a coder, or what he thinks he's an engineer, but he's never really invented anything in his life except for Teslas that are more unsafe than the Ford Pinto, that Cybertruck, except for Neuralink, which keeps killing monkeys, except
SpaceX,
for
which keeps dropping satellites into air traffic routes.
Yeah. He was an early investor in PayPal, was kicked out of that, tried to make it into X. He did buy into Tesla, that's true. But he really wants to think of himself as this genius coder, but he couldn't figure out that was essentially a reference point for data that was incomplete. And none of his little Groyper neo-Nazi 4chaners could figure that out either. Damn. Maybe you've got to expand your hiring pool for Doge outside of the Discord. Insane.
Hitchens razor, coined by Christopher Hitchens. What can be asserted without evidence can also be dismissed without evidence. It is crazy that we are, a month into this almost? And none of the claims of fraud or whatever has been substantiated at all with anything other than that sort of screenshot bullshit, which is immediately debunkable. And yet we still have major institutions. Wired's doing a great job. Politico, though, every single time they mention Doge, they credit it as a good faith regulation and bureaucratic bloat cutting mechanism. What they're doing is slashing the government so they can give tax cuts to all the rich people.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing right now, including looking at Social Security, because that is a big place that they see that the way we should look at them, as a giant piñata to smash and get money out of.
Can we pull up this this sheet that lastly here that shows exactly how many people over the age of 100 are receiving Social Security? It is public. What's incredible is when they pretend this is a private business and that there's a sense of secrecy here. All of this information is public because it is the government. Right at the bottom, it shows the figure 99 and over. 89,106. That's the figure. Not
those vampires.
8+ million, I heard Sean Hannity say in that interview with Levitt. People that are receiving Social Security benefits, they are lying at such a rapid pace to disorient everybody, to make it more difficult to fight back against them. And we'll get into the way that they're targeting these probationary federal workers as well. They are trying to destroy the mechanisms right now that would potentially hamper them from doing this as quickly as possible.
And this is a table from December of last year. How many people would be receiving these checks age 99 and over? And James Suriwiecki, the author, writer here who found this, also tweeted 89,106 is, as it happens, fewer than the number of centenarians in the U.S. as estimated by the census. So we are, again, not sending out billions in Social Security checks to people aged 100 130.
There you have it. Just dumb people.
Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.